Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, top of the time zone. Welcome. This morning, Monday, April 10th, I think, 2023. It's the day after Resurrection Sunday. Today, we're going to talk about the first use of the tablet, how things were downloaded 2,000 years ago and more today on the Intervision FM podcast.
Oh my God.
That's who we love and that's who we serve, folks.
It's running out? Yeah. Hi, everybody. This is the Godfather Soul James Brown. I tell you, this place is on. My man is on. Check him out. This is the Godfather Soul James Brown saying stay with it and hit it. Okay, thank you very much.
All right. We're here. I mean, it was a record.
How dare you?
I was doing a bunch of things. Let me turn off this screen sharing real quick. Because I know it's like it puts this space there and all that kind of stuff. And I want us to show whoever is in the photograph. So anyway, man, how was your resurrection day? How was your weekend?
I caught a little bug over the weekend. It's really hard to talk. My tonsils are all swollen up, and but I'm here.
Oh man, the bug. It's never nice getting a bug because I remember the little bug I had during Christmas when I chose to tell the guy that, hey, I'm a vegetarian, and the guy said, hey, this is what's on the menu, and I said, nope, you're going to change it for me. Why? Because I'm an American. Oh man, so so that's always interesting when that kind of stuff happens. Hey, let our artists, while I'm setting this other stuff up, let the audience know our sponsors and all that kind of stuff.
Well, we got Christian Brothers Movie Company based in Englewood, Colorado, Phoenix, Arizona, and also in Texas. If you need to get around the nation, find a cheaper place to live, economically speaking, they can help get you anywhere you need to get to throughout the nation. They're a family-run, family-owned business, and I would just like to help out the community. Also, because we service grassroots musicians, whether they're physically disabled or financially challenged, or both, why we try to help them out as well with promotional type things available through Denver Arts and Venues, Eeny Meeny Grants, Colorado Art Relief Fund. These folks help us to get exposure to the grassroots musicians that we work with. Mm-hmm. Because we work with grassroots musicians, whether they're financially challenged, physically disabled, we do have a nonprofit. Visit us at www.intervisionrecords.org and check out our events page. And we've got Johnny's got a lot of stuff going on this summer, so you're not going to want to miss anything. And to stay updated on the goings on and happenings at Intervision FM in the Intervision FM universe, join us by subscribing to the newsletter or submit your own topics at info@intervisionfm.com.
Yeah. This morning I was doing something like, this is crazy. I found this program that I've been using to edit video, and I'm going to see if there's a way I can use keyboard commands. But I really like the way this, because Ira Asian introduced me to it. So this past Friday, I went to this Youth on Record open mic, and we videotaped about an hour. And then when the and they said, they wanted people to be be respectful the audience, because the audience was like different ages, and this is more like a family open mic. So this one, we left at this point. This one guy who lived on the east side, and he wanted to say the N word. So we left after that, and I wanted to make sure that he noticed that we left
Right.
doing his stuff, right? And then on the video, I said, hey, we don't subscribe to this name calling each other and all this kind of stuff. And so he was doing his thing, and so we left. But the singers before were fantastic, and it was mostly females that were, they knew the rules. But this one guy, he was just whatever he was just interested in imitating the national scene, not having his mind enlightened and higher, lifted up to know that the national scene is just destruction to the community. So anyway, but I filmed it. It was about an hour long, so I'm going to cut it in half. And during the time we're going to be on vacation, I'm going to air some of those things. Right?
Wow, fascinating.
Yeah.
I'm going to check that out. Don't forget to do that yourselves, folks that are listening. Like, share, subscribe, leave a comment, and set that notifications bell to all so that you know when we go live next with a broadcast like this.
Yeah. And this morning I did a fun little video at my daughter's birthday party. She had these two dogs, and they were barking at me, right? Yeah. So I said, let me have some fun with them. So I was asking them questions about reincarnation. Like, have you guys been here before? What were you before? Give me one bark if you were here before, two barks if you weren't, or and just having fun. So I uploaded that video to YouTube, but I want to upload it to the other platforms as well. It's just a 6-minute video, and like I was just having fun with these dogs that were very rambunctious dogs.
So, did you find any dogs that came back and are now reincarnated as dogs?
Well, according to this one, he's at Rolf, and I guess she, or I think it was a she. I guess, yeah, she had been here before. So, but you can check that out. I just downloaded that, I guess, about 8:30 Mountain Time this morning. So you'll see it, and then I'm gonna probably download it on the other platforms probably later on this week, just for the fun of it. Why not?
Now, we're all about technology and smartphones, and I would submit to you that some 2,000 years ago and more, there was a use of a tablet, a point in time where things were downloaded onto that tablet so that they could be viewed by the common individual, by the common man, by the common woman. It's hilarious because back in the 70s, there was a movie called History of the World. I think they made a couple of them.
That was by a comedian, right?
Yes. Is so, but I remember one of the lines in there is Moses was coming down off Mount Sinai, and he says, "I bring you 3," and he drops one of the tablets, and it smashes, breaks everywhere. He's like, two tablets with 5 commandments on each one.
Oh man, I gotta watch that one again. I definitely gotta watch that video again, because I saw pieces and parts of it, and I think I saw it maybe on YouTube. I was watching that. Yeah, that's a movie that you gotta watch again. And as you know, the first set, I mean, what happened in the real story was he came down and he expected people, okay, wait for me, I'll be down. But then they got together and they said, Aaron, as for this Moses, we don't know where he's at, but you shape a God for us. And so Aaron shaped a calf, and then they had a party. And this party,
holy moly, breaking a commandment right there. Thou shalt not have any graven images. Wow.
Yeah. So then when he came down and he saw what was going on, he broke the tablets, right? And then he slap some people around, and then he had to go back and get another copy. He says, God, the first copy I broke. Can you make me another copy? So that's pretty much how it went. But I got them listed here. Before we get into this other topic about cross-dressing, I got, okay, it's you shall have no other gods before me. That's number one. And the way I'm going to put this up, because the resurrection, yesterday was a resurrection holiday, and people call it Easter, but they don't know part of that is these people that put these secular things mixed in with the church thing, and now the church is just running with it. And when we were kids, we didn't know any better. We just thought, hey, our parents, they know this is something we should be doing, so we just painted the eggs. But we didn't know that part of that tradition came from, they would have a 3-month-old baby, and Governor Polis is going to love this one because he signed into Colorado law that you can kill the baby up until it's born outside the womb. You can kill it. So Governor Jared Polis will love this one. But they waited 3 months after the baby was born. Then they killed the baby, and then they took the blood of the baby and they painted eggs. So that's how we got the tradition of painting eggs. When you kill a baby 3 months later, take the blood and you paint the eggs to celebrate the son. Right? Wow. Yeah. And some other stuff that comes out of this pagan religion as well. And so instead of calling Easter, which is, just committing yourself to being ignorant and not knowing your religion, we just like to call it Resurrection Day. And XA, the rabbits, chocolate covered rabbits, the eggs that are covered with the blood of 3-year-old or 3-month-old children. We just like to get out of that. Okay.
Well, I just have one question for all you folks out there. If we got to get rid of all that, does that also mean we have to get rid of the marshmallow chickens with the sugar?
Marshmallow chicken. I think marshmallow chickens are cool. Oh man, it's what comes out of the marshmallow chicken. Okay.
I don't like those anyway. I'm not a big fan of those marshmallow chicken.
I never even heard of it until you brought it up now. So number 2, you shall not make for yourself an idol. Right?
Yep.
There we go. There's number 2.
Right.
You shall not misuse the name of the Lord. All right.
What do you do that? How do you misuse the name of the Lord? Is that like making a ministry and for $19.95 you get this much? Send me your money and I'll buy your way into heaven for you. Is that?
That could be it, or that could be something like just like using them and God together, or something like that. I guess that could be one. That could be one.
In vain. Well, that's also another commandment, I think.
Yeah. And then let's see, what is 4? Oh, remember the Sabbath day by keeping it holy. Now, these are Jewish guys, right? So the Sabbath for the Jewish guys, that was Saturday. But what I understand is when the Catholics, the people that started up the Catholic religion, they got in, and once again, they took something pagan and they said, well, let's not make it Saturday. Let's make it Sunday so we can bring in these other Greeks and everybody else and say, hey, this is a separate day unto us. So instead of the real day of the Sabbath, we'll change it to this other day. So that's another thing that most people think, oh, Sunday's the Sabbath. No, Sunday was the first day of the week according to the Jewish calendar.
It's interesting because the Sabbath for the Christians, if they celebrate it at all, if we celebrate it at all, you're absolutely right. It is a Sunday for the Jewish population.
Saturday. You mean Saturday? It is Saturday.
Well, no, Sunday for the Christians.
Oh yeah, Sunday for the Christians. Okay, yeah.
Yeah. Whereas Saturday for the Jewish and the and some other folks, they'll celebrate what some consider to be the correct Sabbath. Mm-hmm. And Paul addressed the idea of when to celebrate the Sabbath a little bit. And I think that's where they get their justification for trading the day for Saturday to Sunday. But one thing that I have understood, it doesn't matter what the Sabbath day is. Nobody takes that Sabbath day off anymore.
Yeah. I was like Ross was closed on Resurrection Day, and a few other places were closed. Never Bread, and so it was kind of interesting because usually, like in Colorado, a long time ago, remember, like a lot of things were just closed on Sunday in general.
Yeah,
they didn't sell liquor.
They couldn't sell cars. You can't sell cars on Sunday.
Is that right? Okay, so no cars. Yeah, sold. So, and then we got, I don't know when it started opening up. I think in the 80s to mid 90s, they started, because I used to, the first lady I ever dated that moved here from California to Colorado, she said she wanted to go to the liquor store. And I said, why do you want to go to the liquor store? She said, I'll get some candy. But I think at the time in the 80s, they didn't sell candy in Denver in the liquor stores, because that's like, just, kind of like planting the seeds for the next generation that, hey, you want to get your candy, you want to get your liquor, you can get them at the same place, right?
Right.
But in California, I guess liquor stores was equated to candy stores as well. So,
Wow.
So yeah, that was kind of interesting because she got me. I said, "Why do you want to go to the liquor store?" I said, "You don't drink." She said, "No, I'm gonna get some candy." And I had no idea that in California that's what they did. So, and then number 5, this is a very good one. Honor your father and your mother. All right. So that's a very, so these mass shooters that they kill their parents or whatever, and then they go off and shoot up a bunch of schools. I could bet you that their parents never taught them this, right? So, and then number 6, you shall not murder. Hey, there you go. You shall not murder. Now, this is kind of interesting with Polis and his bill to murder. And it's okay if you murder them if they're inside. And so you make those little exceptions. Well, it's okay if you murder them if they tell you to murder them. There was this movie that was out, and it said, well, they do it to horses, and it was about this dance contest, and I guess this lady had lost it or whatever, and she says, I have no life, I feel hopeless, and then she says to this other guy, will you kill me? Right? So the guy, put the gun up to her head, shot her in the head, and they arrested her and said, wait, and then his excuse was, well, they do it to horses if they want to be put out of their misery. So, wow. So I think we watched that movie, but it was like I had heard about that movie, and then we rented it and watched it. But it was back in the day, back in the 50s, there used to be these 24-hour dance contests, and as you dropped out, the final winner would win, so much money and prizes and so forth like that.
All right.
So anyway, so now in our society now, it's like anything goes. We're number 1 in carjacking, but they won't stop you until you kill somebody, and then it's serious. But they don't think about stopping you before then. Or they said if you commit a felony with a gun, but you don't shoot anybody, that's okay. Even though you could scare somebody to death with that, and they could follow her with the holler jack, as long as you don't actually shoot it, then they'll put it down to a misdemeanor. That's what our DA is here in Colorado. That's our George Soros DJ of today, right? Okay. 7. Oh, you shall not commit adultery.
Oh, strike 1.
Yeah, man. I went to this church one. No, I heard of this church. I don't know if I went to the church or I heard of one, but the pastor, man, he had married his one wife, and then it was another lady within the church that fell in love with him. So he divorced that wife, and then he got with this one. But I guess that wouldn't be called adultery. I mean, he just switched out one parishioner for another kind of thing, or something like that.
I don't know. You know,
Yeah.
as I get further along in these, and I said strike one, yeah, I'm guilty. So
I've been there.
I'm an adulterer.
I've been there, done that too. And then let's see, that was number 8. You shall not steal.
Oh, I'm a
Oh,
thief.
yeah.
I'm a thief, Johnny.
Oh,
stole-
man.
Clips before. I stole a few candy bars in my day. I'm
Hey,
a thief, dude.
I got you there. I was in the candy store, and I think I got like it was those hot suckers. I used to love those hot suckers, man.
Oh, yeah.
I took one, and then when we got to the store, I showed my sister. She says, "What are you doing?" He said, "Here, we thinking you're blind and you're not going to do something like." And says, and I remember one time, my mother. This is going to date me. She said she gave me a quarter, and she says, "Go get a box of crackers."
Wow.
Well, maybe she gave me 50 cents. Okay, 50 cents. And I went down, and I couldn't find the crackers. And this place was 5 blocks away. I'm like, I think I was 5 years old at the time, but I did find a sucker. All right. So instead of bringing back the crackers, I brought back the sucker, and I was licking on it. And then when I got home, she says, "Where's the crackers?" I said, "Couldn't find it." And she says, she calls up the store and says, "I sent my son over to get some crackers. I'm gonna send them back." And she says, "Wrap that candy back up and take it back." I'm thinking like, but I'm licking on it. How can I wrap the candy bar back and take it back? But I think we did get the crackers, because she was making soup for lunch, whatever. So anyway, so what was that one? You shall not steal. Number 8. Okay, number 9. And what's that guy? Alvin Brad. He broke this one right here. Big time. Big time. Okay. You shall not give false testimony to your neighbor.
Yeah.
Oh,
So
against your neighbor. Against your neighbor.
that's lying. I'm a lying, adultering thief, Johnny.
We're hitting the strike. We're just striking out. So, so your neighbors who lie against you and say you did something you didn't do, that was one of the commandments. And God really knew us well. I mean, these ones are just, right there. He says, "I know you guys are going to do this, but I'm going to command you not to do this." Right? Then what's the other one? Okay. Oh, and then number 10. And let's see, what is number 10?
I bet you I'm going to strike out
You
this
shall
one.
not cover your neighbor's house,
Oh,
wife, or belongings.
oh,
Oh, man.
Johnny,
But huh?
Johnny, check this out. I am an adulterating, lying, thieving, covetous individual. Do you know where I'm
Oh.
going, Johnny?
Well,
If I have Jesus Christ in my life,
and you weren't covered by the blood of the Lamb.
if I wasn't covered by the blood of Jesus, bro, do you know where I'd be going?
Yeah, straight to that HE double toothpicks. That's what they used to say. Oh, man.
I honestly believe this, folks. And the reason why I can be honest and I can be open and say, look, I was these things in the past is because, well, I have to be accountable. And I'd much rather be accountable here than in the hereafter. I want my hereafter to be spent with my Lord and my Savior, Jesus Christ. And I want to spend my time, doing the eternal life thing. So I started drinking the Kool-Aid a long time ago. And it took a while before the Kool-Aid became completely and totally palatable. In fact, it's not how do I say? Well, I still do some things that I ought not. I smoke too much. I drink too much coffee. You know, things like that. He's still working on me, and he can work on you guys too. You know, 1 Corinthians chapter 15 is where you find the salvation message, and Exodus chapter 20 is where you find the 10 commandments in all their glory.
Yeah. Yep.
And,
Yep.
you know, the bottom line is he is looking for a relationship. He's not looking for perfect folks that have followed these commandments. It says that if you've stolen before, don't just stop. You know, he who has stolen should steal no more.
Mhm. Find something useful to do with your hands instead.
Yeah, work. You know, it's much better to work for your things than it is to take things that are not yours, born from covetousness. It's much better to work than to take things to feed your family. We are in this place where we're going to be experiencing quite a bit of inflation, food shortages, things like this. We're all going to be tried. We're all going to be tested. And these 10 commandments are all that we have to keep us on the rails. You know, we don't want to lie to each other. We don't want to steal from each other. We don't want to covet our neighbors' stuff, especially their wives. You know, we certainly don't want to kill each other. We don't want to run around and have false gods or idols. And we sure don't want to have it. If we choose to serve a God, we can't put other gods in there. We have to serve that one God. And that's what we're all about, is just trying to spread that good news of the gospel, and where at all possible.
Yeah.
I'm going
to
give voice a rest.
Yeah. Oh shit! I was gonna mention something, and it's totally slipped my mind. Let's get to the topic at hand. And I got this topic from this. She used to come on our show quite a bit. Her name is Ashley Smith, and she was part of the Special Olympics. I guess she did powerlifting.
Yeah. Oh wow! I didn't know Ashley did powerlifting as well.
Yeah, and so I guess she's pretty muscular, and she keeps herself in shape and stuff like that. And I guess I guess at this church, maybe it's a very conservative church. It's called MercyCultureChurch. Mercy, and I googled it, and I have a feeling that these people are not good at communicating to their members, and especially new members. Before we get into this, because one of the past members, they asked them to tithe 10%.
Okay.
Well, this member took offense and says, "Wait a minute, why should I tithe to? Is it because you said so?" But they didn't explain. Well, here it is in the Bible. Let's do a little study on this, and let's they just said, "This is what you're going to do. Don't go and question us." And ladies and gentlemen, if you're a part of a body of believers, or sit down with I guess in the church I used to go, they used to have a membership classes where they explain why they believe what they believe, and all that kind of stuff. And if they had any questions, that was the time to get the questions. And so this guy, he disagreed with the 10%. My brother was over yesterday. He disagrees as well. But it's in the Bible, and if you don't want to be a part of the church, then do something else. And that's just because the church lives off of the generosity of the members, and that's why it says to be a cheerful giver. So then the next thing was he wanted to be a part of the youth ministry, and they said, well, if you can commit to like 6 hours, because sometimes we'll do events with youth and it takes 3 hours, or planning and stuff. And then he said, well, I disagree with that, because I just had a baby, and then then in that case, maybe the time for you to be a youth minister is not now. Maybe you should get seasoned a little bit and then come back around to that. Then now this other part, I'm not sure where they got this part. Okay, it says, one day a week you should have respect the Sabbath. But he was working, I don't know if he was working 7 days a week or if he was going to work after Sabbath or whatever. They said, well, can you ask your employer if you could have a day off? Well, then he said, wait a minute, that's really cutting into my finances, so I can't do that. So he had all these grievances against the church, and he put it in this article that I guess this newspaper did. And I'm almost tempted to get the address or to get the phone number and give him a call and say, okay, hey, can you come on our show and explain this? Because I understand it, but why aren't you getting your members to explain it? Now, let's get to this lady that approached Ashley and said, to stop taking pictures, which I'm not sure what that was about, or we'll call the police. I'm not sure what that was all about. But the other part about, they thought that she was transgendered or gay because of the way she dresses. Now, I don't know how she dresses or whatever, but I know, like in some churches, like in the Church of Paul, it says, hey, women, wear or something. Don't wear your hair braided. I'm not sure what's having your hair flowing and having your hair braided. Do you understand that part about
right? Women are not to braid their hair, wear frippery, jewelry, things that attract the man's eye to their beauty. They're supposed to be chaste, subdued, things like this. By contrast, guys aren't supposed to wear long hair like what I've got here going on.
Now, what about beards? Because we both got our beards going on.
Now we got beards going on. We can have beards, I guess. It's strange because doctrines, they'll shift over time. Some things will stay, other things will not. And being a blind guy, I don't understand. I just don't know.
My friend Wayne was that. Well, what about the guys that wear the kilts?
Right.
Yeah.
So like different cultures have the kilt. Some guys in different types of lifestyles here in America have long, they will wear their hair long because of their lifestyle.
And some guys perform as if they're women and they go that direction. Now, my answer to my friend was okay, Jesus says that we're not to judge what the world does.
Right.
The world's going to do what the world is going to do.
Right.
But once we belong to this group, he says, live a quiet life, live a life where always looking for opportunities to share your faith.
Yes.
Right. And so I think because some people, like some of these churches are getting government money, there's a conflict of interest. If you're going to get the government money, then the government God is climate change. The government God is killing unborn and born babies.
You bring up a very interesting and valid point, and that's the 501c3 corporation that the church is able to set up and enjoy tax exempt status, enjoy similar things that a nonprofit enjoys. So they could do all kinds of really cool stuff. And it was designed so that they could help out the general public. But now it does seem that the government will indeed try to hold that 501c3 corporation status over the church. So even if the church owns their land, their building, in some cases, it's thought that the government can just go in, take it under eminent domain and reclaim that land. And so therefore, a lot of the preachers, teachers, pastors will color within the lines because they don't want to lose their stuff. It's perfectly understandable. But when we get up in front of our maker, Johnny, the bottom line is when I'm standing there in front of my Jesus and he says, son, I gave you this gift. I gave you that gift. I gave you the other gift here. Why didn't you use them? Why did you just kind of go along to get along? I don't want to have no answer for my God. I don't want to have, Lord, well, I wanted to make it as comfortable as I could for me here.
Yeah.
I'm really sorry. Can you give me another chance? Let's say, depart from me. I never knew you.
Yes. And I know it's difficult, ladies and gentlemen, because I mean, sometimes you're going to a church and you'll see some crazy things going on. Like, remember I told you about that time, it was a singles ministry, and the singles pastor was passing by the room, and this guy had convinced this lady that he needed prayers over his private parts. So she was laying hands on it. And the pastor, I guess he broke it up, and he came and he confronted it in front of the whole singles group. Is it, you guys, we can't be doing silly stuff, and you got to use your common sense. And if a brother tells you to pray over his private parts because he needs relief, he's not talking about spiritual. Man.
I look at my own spirit right now as you tell this story, and I'm laughing. I think it's funny. And I think to myself, well, it's not funny. Why are you laughing?
No, because I'm thinking like, where did this lady come from? How did this guy convince it? I mean, there must be some pretty convincing guys in the church. And I wonder how he posed that.
Psychological operations, my brother. It's easy enough, whether you're a man or a woman, to manipulate things in such a way as to where you can get what you want to have happen. We just choose to do it the right way. We just choose to, Lord, we just ask you for what I want. If it's in your will, you're going to give it to me, because you said it's in your book. Honestly, that does stir up a whole new place where people are like, well, there are people starving in Africa. Why are they not getting their prayers answered? And I can't say. I don't know. I'm not God.
Yeah. There's an ultimate reason for all of this, but we just are not at a level to know.
That's absolutely right. That's absolutely right. I do know that there is the theory of the degrees of separation. This person knows that person knows the other person. And pretty soon, when you separate all the threads of the degrees of separation, you can actually run into a famous person. This person knows that person knows the other person. Finally, you get to Donald John Trump.
Right.
Things like that.
And can the clay ask the one who's molding it, why did you mold me this way?
Well, that's the big thing right there. Because, I struggle with that all the time. Lord, I'm already blind. Why am I going deaf? Lord, now I'm sick. And rather than being pitying about it, oh, God, I got to get better. I can't hear right. Well, there's a reason for what he's doing. He's building character. If nothing else, he is showing somebody else through me. Nope, it's really good if you take care of yourself really well, because if you don't, you'll get sick.
Yeah. This is true. I mean, these are like a lot of sometimes unanswered questions, and we have to go. I mean, he said he sent us the Holy Spirit to lead us in all truth, and he'll answer those questions through the Holy Spirit, and it might not be something that whether I accept or you, but go between your God, get in your prayer closet, and hey, God, give me more wisdom, give me some clarification on these things, and God will give you, and he's faithful and just to give you those clarifications, because he did send back the teacher. And if you're not a believer, all this stuff sounds pretty strange to you and whatever like that. It is what it is. But he will give you an answer, and if it's not the full answer, well, believe me, eventually we'll know. When we pass from this light to the next light, we'll know a lot of stuff that we just wouldn't have been beneficial for us to know on this side of the boat.
A final that I wanted to touch on is we're real big on the male female thing these days. Is it okay to be a guy? Is it okay to be a girl? If you're a guy and you think you're a girl, can you transition? Well, God himself is going to be doing away. There won't be any male. There won't be any female in heaven. And is it because we can't handle it? I mean, I don't know. It's just my personal thought on that.
Yep. So we'll call it a day. And I have a riddle. I'm going to do it tomorrow. And then for the ones who get that riddle right before the end of the show, so you're going to have to timestamp the show. We'll send you a free either hoodie or a T-shirt or something to that effect. So we want you guys to give the answer, and we're going to give the preface of it at the beginning, and then we'll give you the answer at the end of the show, and then we want you to timestamp your answers, so we'll know that either you cheated or you didn't cheat or whatever. I don't know. It'll be interesting.
For those on the newsletter, this will make more sense tomorrow. Hit us up at intervisionfm.com to get on the email list.
Yeah, give us thumbs up, share, and subscribe to our show. And hey, it's all good. So hey, God bless everybody, and happy Resurrection Day to you. And we'll have another interesting show tomorrow here on here on Intervision FM. I guess that's what we are.
Johnny J is president and station manager, by the way. Intervision FM.